holding celebrities accountable. This is going to be deeply interesting. Why do we have Angelina Jolie, Tiffany Haddish, and Amanda Seales on the thumbnail, along with TikTok? Let's get into it right now. So, Sabs, are you of the opinion that celebrities hold a responsibility to speak out on social and political issues? Why and why not?
Yeah, I think if you're a public figure that you do, right? So whether you're, an athlete or an actress or musician, I think as a public figure, you do have that responsibility, right? So this is something where I think that, old school Michael Jordan would have disagreed with this because he didn't speak out on some issues during the height of his career. But as time went by, older Michael Jordan says that he looks back on that time and said that that was actually not a good idea, that he should have spoken out on some of those social issues, right? So, yeah, I think they do owe a responsibility. And I think we've seen when it comes to Gaza that a number of celebrities have either been really silent. I think most of them are silent, or we found out that some of them are pro-Israel that maybe we didn't think would be pro-Israel. Right. So it's been kind of a surprise to people. But I think the biggest surprise that I've seen was DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled, who is Palestinian, has said nothing about what's happening to the Palestinian people. And that's mainly because of the ties, the business ties that he has, like when it comes to his music career, when it comes to his business, when it is a business for him, he is tied to a prominent Zionist. And I think that's why DJ Khaled has been completely silent about this issue. And I think that's why some of the other ones are really silent about it. They don't want to say anything one way or the other. I know some people are pointing fingers at some of the younger celebrities too, like people like Zendaya, or is it Zendaya or Zendaya? Zendaya?
Zendaya.
Yeah. I know some of the, younger people are pointing at Zendaya and they're like, why aren't you saying anything about this? So I think it's very telling, especially if you are a celebrity and you have spoken out before in the past about other social issues. But when it comes to this one, you're silent. It's very telling.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, especially with the responsibility when you have a platform to bring it to the fore. In fact, there is someone who actually brings this out even better than I can. I want to share this quick on TikTok. So she really spells it out even better, more eloquently than me. Let's hear.
I just wanted to make real quick to clarify my thoughts on this subject, as a lot of people have been asking.
All right, I had to make a comment. If you didn't watch this cool video, definitely go watch it. It's great. I love it. Says, but the reason why I'm stitching it is because the creator has about 1.8 million followers. I've been following him for a while because I think he's pretty funny. But when he finally says his view on the situation, he goes, Israel isn't real. And the amount of people in his comments that have never heard of that term before isn't real. Meanwhile, us Palestinians and us Arabs always believe it isn't real. Did you see how it reaches people that normally don't hear everything that we are saying? We need other types of influencers. We need other people from different demographics to get the word out there, to make people understand what's going on. So if this one creator, posed this new concept to them that Israel isn't real, now these people are maybe going to go learn about it. This is why we need the influencers. This is why we need the celebrities to speak up, because they reach different demographics than we Arabs do, than we Palestinians do, than we brown people do. So this is a prime example of why we need everyone to speak up. And honestly, I'm so proud of him for speaking up. Go watch his video, everything.
All right, so the video seems to be a little bit choppy. I'll send it to you, Stash, real quick.
Yeah, I think
it's choppy to me. I don't know why it comes out choppy on the other side. And also, do you have a higher volume than I do? Because it sounds a little quiet to me.
We'll see.
Okay.
let me just go ahead and share my screen here.
Real quick to clarify my thoughts on this subject, as a lot of people have been asking.
All right, I had to make a comment. If you didn't watch his full video, definitely go watch it. It's great. I love everything he says. But the reason why I'm stitching it is because this creator has about 1.8 million followers. I've been following him for a while because I think he's pretty funny. But when he finally says his view on this situation, he calls Israel isn't real. And the amount of people in his comments that have never heard of that term before, isn't real. Meanwhile, us Palestinians and us Arabs have always called it isn't real, like it's not new for us. But do you see how it reaches people that normally don't hear everything that we're saying? We need other types of influencers. We need other people from different demographics to get the word out there, to make people understand what's going on. So if this one creator, like posed this new concept to them that Israel isn't real, and now these people are maybe going to go learn about it, this is why we need the influencers. This is why we need the celebrities to speak up, because they reach different demographics than we Arabs do, than we Palestinians do, than we brown people do. So this is a prime example of why we need everyone to speak up. And honestly, I'm so proud of him for speaking up. Go watch his video. Everything is just facts.
No, I think that's
So the reason why. No, please go ahead.
I think that's a really good point. What she said is that, he's able to reach more people, more of a mainstream audience that, probably had never heard this before, had never heard that statement, it isn't real. So I think this is where there's a responsibility on influencers too, right? So it's not just about like actors and actresses, but also a lot of people that are influencers and they have a large following. It's on them too to speak about these issues as well. Now, some of them don't want to because they're afraid that this is the piece people may not realize. They're afraid that they're going to lose some of the sponsorships that they have. And this speaks to, again, why I continue to say this is the danger about having a sponsorship. When you have a sponsorship, like those companies are sponsoring you because they like the content that you have at that point in time, right? And you're reaching people and you can help promote their brand. But all it takes is for you to speak out on a particular issue that can cause that sponsorship to decide that's it. We're not going to continue to have the sponsorship with you because you spoke out against Israel, or because you said defund the police, or because you said it's usually left issues, right? Or because you said, or if you're far right, if it's something about immigration, they may feel a certain kind of way about that. So I think the thing is that that's the danger about having sponsorships. And I think that's why some of those influencers are not speaking up about Gaza.
Yeah, in fact, there was a video that I was watching that they were talking about the trans influencer Dylan Maney, and talking about how she did not, she's staying silent on the issue regarding Gaza. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's great that you're talking about the trans issue and advocating for that, but you haven't said anything about Gaza, realizing that there's LGBTQ people who are being massacred in Gaza right now, not just Gaza, but also in Rafah, Jenin, Ramallah, and, further being oppressed in the West Bank. So it's like, well, Dylan Mulvaney, like, we don't want to have to say anything, but your silence is deafening to us. And so it's for people like that. It's for people who talk about all these political issues, these social political issues, but don't say a word. Like, for instance, people like Beyonce, people be like, well, Beyonce doesn't have to answer. And it's like, well, she did do that, especially in the Super Bowl a few years ago, where she tried to, bring up about police brutality and things like that. And it's like, okay, she can talk about that, but she can't talk about the people who are in Gaza being, massacred left and right. It's like, it's wild, because a lot of times people who do have these big platforms can actually push things in a certain direction. And one of the things I want to direct attention to is people like Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett is literally advocating against the genocide in Gaza. She's saying that this the ceasefire needs to happen and this needs to stop. She's using the power of her celebrity in order to do that. You have people like Susan Sarandon,
Yep.
who's also doing that same thing. And it's like, if they can do it, why? Gigi and Bella Hadid, they're both Palestinian. They're both actually speaking out about it. You know,
and
what about them?
Susan Sarandon was also dropped from her talent agency. I don't know if everyone remembers that when she spoke out against Israel, they dropped her. And I think that's what some celebrities may be afraid of as well. But, you know, so much for freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important to keep speaking up. And the reason why is because there's power in that. And I want to share, I hope this isn't choppy, but I'm going to share this video. If it starts to be choppy, then I'll just send it over to you, Sabs. But I think
probably
it's important.
Yeah, it's probably best to just give it to me because the connection.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to send it to you right now. And also to answer John Kemper's question, not his question, but his statement about the fan. Unfortunately, the chain is stuck. I can't turn the fan off. So if I have to have the light on, I have to have the fan on. And then if I turn that off, then it gets darker. And then I'm a dark skinned guy, you know. Oops. I didn't do that there. So my apologies. So, but yes. That's the only problem.
I don't even see a fan. So hold on, let me see. I don't know.
I mean, the shadow from the fan above me. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Amanda Seales, obviously speaking out in support of Palestine. I know there's been a lot of criticism of Amanda Seales in reference to other issues, but she's very good on this particular issue. So we'll go ahead and start this.
You have to start at the beginning.
Oh, okay. It was at this point here. At the very beginning.
That's an accident. Yeah.
At the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Last week, we reported Tiffany Haddish would take the stage as part of the Netflix's Joke Festival. However, her performance would take a turn once the college protests in relation to the ongoing war between Israel and Palestine were mentioned. In what seemed like a spontaneous rant and not prepared material, Haddish would tell the audience that she doesn't care about the college protest. Well, over the weekend, Amanda Seales would take to Instagram to post a reaction video of Haddish's viral set. She will also take the opportunity to promote her upcoming Unlikable tour, which she stated would be an event that cares about college students, Black liberation, and other things that matter.
Colleges, right? I don't give a fuck about that shit. I've never went to college. Why would I care? Boo college? Or boo that I've never went? Or boo that I don't give a fuck about the college? Why should I give a fuck about the college? There's not genocide at the college. I give a fuck about what's going on the other side of the world, but why would I give a fuck about the college? Because Africa is working at the college? Shut the fuck up. Then I'm talking about stupid motherfuckers at the college.
So people have to understand that Tiffany Haddish also, she is Jewish. She's very much pro-Israel. She made a video saying she was going to Israel. She was kind of singing about it a little bit when she was on the plane, saying she has to go see with her own eyes. I mean, Tiffany Haddish is not good at reading the room. And these comments that she made here in reference to the audience members who paid to see her and paid for those tickets, this is her insulting members of the audience. Right. So this statement that Tiffany Haddish made here was really stupid. And I thought it was really insensitive as well. She obviously doesn't understand just because she didn't go to college doesn't mean that she can't be concerned about the issues that students are protesting about. But this is Tiffany Haddish protecting Israel. And I think a lot of people have been very surprised by the statements that have come from Tiffany Haddish since this conflict has begun, because I don't think a lot of people realize just how pro-Israel she was. And now they see.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my biggest issues with Tiffany Haddish is that she says that, you know, I didn't go to college, so why should I give an F about it? My thing is neither did I. but I have a little thing called empathy, which allows me to be able to feel for the people who are going through what they're going through, not just on college campuses, but also in Gaza. So basically what Tiffany Haddish is basically saying is that her level of empathy only extends to the experiences that she has had and not to any experiences that she has not had, meaning that she cannot empathize with people or even sympathize with people who have not went through the same experiences. And this just shows that there's a deep lack of empathy on her part, which is very scary to me. And she is really reflecting the thoughts of a lot of people, especially Zionists, who are in league with her. This makes me think of people like Bill Ackman. It makes me think of people like Jerry Seinfeld, who continuously say what they say about the Palestinian people, equating them all to Hamas. And the funny part is they want us to feel sympathy for Zionists and Israelis and the IOF, but they're not willing to extend any type of empathy to any of the Palestinians that are innocent in this entire ordeal. It's quite interesting to see how they want that empathy extended to some, but they don't want the empathy extended to others.
That's right. And this part that she's about to say here ain't never worked a goddamn day in their life. This is another myth here, this assumption that all of the protesters are rich white kids. That's actually not true. If you go to the campuses, you'll see this for yourself. There are also students that are from low income families that are protesting at these colleges as well. There are also Black students that are protesting. So this is a wrong assumption here of Tiffany Haddish to make, right? Okay, I'll continue on.
Ever worked a goddamn day in your life? Do you remember 9/11, bitch?
I'm not sure what's going on with sis, but if you want to come to a comedy show where we do care about college and Black liberation and Palestine and Africa and the Sudan and Congo and, things that matter, well, maybe come to an Amanda Seales show. All right, because we're going to talk about all of that and have a good ass time doing it. You'll also find out why my braids look like this. Link in bio or go to amandaseales.com for the Unlikable Tour. See you there.
It seems as though that post reached Haddish herself as she took to Instagram with a live video of her own. Haddish has been on a press tour promoting her new book, I Curse You With Joy, and her video was a message to those who spew negativity at her. Many would assume this was Haddish's response to Seales. In Haddish's video, she would not mention any names, but would allude to anyone speaking negatively towards her as possibly jealous of her position. In addition, Haddish would claim that if someone is their friend and if that friend is informed on a subject, they should teach their friend. Her caption would say, I am proud of you. Even if you hate me, you just showed me how big I really am. I curse you with joy. Oh, and stop being a bully. It's not cute on you.
Yeah, I'm just keep it positive, because some people out here will say they're your friends and they will constantly actually be hating your guts, wishing they can be where you are. And then when the opportunity strikes, they show who they really are. I'm really excited about tonight. I'm going to do things that I know those people that say they were my friend, I'm going to do things that they wish they could do. And I'm glad that my hard work and dedication has gotten me to such a point where they need to use my name to make themselves relevant or to promote whatever they're promoting. And I'm proud of me. And I'm not going to shit on them because they do it enough to themselves. If anything, I curse them with joy.
Now, one user would comment on Haddish's video by writing, yes, no matter what, stay positive. But there are people like Amanda Seales on you. Haddish would respond, why would she do that when she was mad about people doing that to her? I have supported Amanda, looked out for her, got her work when nobody wanted to hire. She is a bully too. Wow.
Hang on, pause. Wait a minute. Being a bully for condemning what you said against genocide, that's not bullying. That's holding you accountable, Tiffany.
Yeah. And celebrities need to be held accountable. That's the thing.
Yeah.
especially when it comes to these particular issues. Like, where do they stand? So we have to think about like people like Tiffany Haddish, like how did she get in that spot in the first place? Because she kissed up to the right people. I wouldn't say that, I'm not going to say she's not talented, but I'm not going to sit up here and say that Tiffany Haddish is this, hilarious comedian. I don't think she's that funny. Like, I'm just being honest. But so how did she get there? She got there by kissing up to the right people in the right industry. So the thing is that she's not going to say disparaging remarks about Israel because she knows what is going to happen to her career if she does. So it seemed like to me, the real bully has actually been Tiffany Haddish. If you look at what she said to her own audience members, are they going to be able to get their money back for that show? You can't be questioned. People can't critique you. When it comes to these particular issues, when it comes to, we're going to talk about occupation and oppression. Yes, you should be held accountable with your statements, whether you are a movie star or a musician or whatever, you should be held accountable. So it's interesting how some people, once they got to a certain level of success, they feel as though they can just ignore. How can you ignore a genocide? How can you ignore this when there's protests happening all over the world? How can you just pretend like it's not a big deal?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this may be a side note. Some people may come after me for this, but it is what it is. 50% of what makes Tiffany Haddish even remotely funny is her voice. It's the same thing with Chris Rock. 50% of what makes him funny is his voice. That's why people find them funny, because they hear it in that particular voice. Same thing with RIP, but look, hey, the same thing. Hearing that in his voice made it funny. If you take that voice away, if you make a voice like mine or Savvy's, that humor goes down. So therefore, it's just fun hearing it in that voice. Anyway, the thing is, especially when it comes to what being able to critique celebrities. I mean, would Tiffany Haddish have a issue? What's his name? He played Kramer on Seinfeld. I forgot his name.
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards. Thank you. Would she have a problem with Black people calling out Michael Richards for using the N-word?
Right.
Because that's literally holding a celebrity accountable.
She just doesn't want the criticism to be done to her. That's what it is. Like, you are wrong on this issue. You're on the wrong side of history on this issue. Tiffany Haddish is, and sometimes it's just read the room. Like, read the room. Really genocide is not funny.
No, it is not. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's important for us to really hold them accountable. And there's a trend that is happening where a lot of celebrities are now being blocked. There's this trend that's going on that's been going on really on TikTok and Instagram mostly. This is a video on Twitter. I wonder if that will. Never mind. I'll just send you the link anyway. But there's this video on Twitter that's circulating about somebody made or I don't even know if I would call it a misstep. They stepped in it. And now this is sparking people saying, you know what? You went to the Met Gala? All right, we blocking you. So I think this is going to be really interesting. I don't know if you saw this, Sebs, but
I saw it.
Okay.
Yep.
Let them eat cake.
It's time for the people to conduct what I want to call a digital guillotine, a digitine, if you will. It's time to block all the celebrities, influencers, and wealthy socialites who are not using their resources to help those in dire need. We gave them their platforms. It's time to take it back, take our views away, our likes, our comments, our money, by blocking them on all social media and digital platforms. And I think the first person that we should all focus on is Haley here. Haley Bailey, for your ignorant decision to attend the $75,000 ticket Met Gala and recite "Let Them Eat Cake," while you have done nothing with your 10 million follower platform as people are starving and dying, we sentence you to the digitine.
Vive la révolution.
Yeah. So this is a big thing that's happening now. I know someone mentioned it to me a couple of nights ago about this block campaign where you're blocking all these celebrities that are either silent about this issue or have come out in favor of Israel. And it actually does have an effect, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one of the things that a lot of people who are in marketing actually have been coming out, especially on TikTok, saying this is actually working, because one of the ways how celebrities make their money is through engagement. So there are some celebrities that also, have they get paid through the engagement that's being done on social media. So the likes, the reposts or retweets or clicks or shares, the engagement is how they get, people to go to their website to shop for things. All these different things also increase their revenue, and it also increases web traffic. And so engagement is important for their bottom line. But if you block them, even if you weren't following them, that affects the engagement, the traffic, all these different things that help celebrities to make money.
Yeah.
And so then if you're blocking them, you're literally messing with their bag. And celebrities, if their bag is messed up, what's the point of even doing the work that they're doing anymore?
That's right. I don't think a lot of people may have realized that, though. It really does matter. The amount of followers that a celebrity has on X or Instagram is a big one. I don't think Facebook is as popular as it used to be, but more traffic going through X and Instagram, that actually does matter. So if more people are blocking them, they're not going to get as much engagement as JB was referring to. Plus, you can also get paid on Twitter as well. So it actually does matter. It actually is important. Like, you do have to hold celebrities accountable. And I think this is free. This is a way that you can hold them accountable for free. This is the click of a button.
And Sabs, I just sent you in the private chat, I just sent you a video of the major effects that it already has had so far. And I think this is important because this is just a trend that's just growing. Imagine if more of us did this, and it would push people in the direction we want to go as far as celebrity. So Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Just a quick reminder that as blocking all the celebrity, it is working, because I just saw that Kim trashed last 3 million followers. It is working. Not only that, but I was honestly on my computer trying to add Lizzo to the list. Tell me why this woman decided to post on her IG, not a story, an actual feed, and sharing and being vocal right now. So they already know they were supposed to be doing that from the beginning. But now we started the movement. They're starting to break the silence. It is working. So keep blocking.
There you go. So she said she was talking about Kim Kardashian?
Yes. 3 million followers said dump her. They dumped her. And yeah, of course, she has like 30 some odd million. But that's just the people who are paying attention at that point in time. Right? And so this can go for people who are in music, right? There are block lists, and some of the block lists, I know. What's sad? Drake actually spoke out for Palestine.
Yeah.
But Kendrick hasn't. I haven't heard anything from Kendrick.
I know people have been saying about that. People have been mentioning that. Yeah, it is. It's really interesting.
Chris Brown has spoken out about Gaza, but Rihanna hasn't.
Well, no, Rihanna's a billionaire. So, it's a lot of the billionaires have not. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, Taylor Swift. You guys notice this? That a lot of the billionaires are not speaking out in favor of Palestine.
Yeah. Well, Lil Wayne hasn't spoken out against it. Nicki Minaj, Meg Thee Stallion. I'm sorry, but some of the people who are maybe your favorites, and I was going over some people who I like. I haven't heard anything from. It's like, well, I might have to block Shaka Khan because she's stands with Zionists.
Yep. Shaka
Khan.
Shaka Khan
used to be in the Black Panthers.
Yep. She went from being a Black Panther to being a Zionist. Isn't this crazy? So a lot of the billionaires that you have heard from are pro-Israel. So Bill Ackman, pro-Israel. Elon Musk, he's pro-Israel too. If you guys been paying attention to what he's doing on Twitter, and he went over there to Israel and met with Netanyahu and all that jazz, right? So a lot of these billionaires are speaking out in favor of Israel. And you have to ask, why is that? And now Bill Ackman is a Zionist, but just follow the money, guys, and you'll see like who's standing up for the right things and who isn't. I know that one of the actresses, I forget her name, but she played on the Wednesday show on Netflix. Gina, she's young, Gina something. She spoke out in favor of Palestine and she got dropped from her most current project because of that. So there's a number of things that are happening to people that do speak out in favor of Gaza. But I think there's some of them that they just know, like, I'm not going to be broken regardless. And that's like Angelina Jolie. She gave out a statement in reference to genocide. Oh, thank you so much for that, SF. It's Jenna Ortega. Yes, she spoke out early on in favor of Palestine and she was dropped from her project.
Yeah. So I'm going to share this because it's easier for me to share articles because I don't have to worry about video. But this article here, it says how the Met Gala catalyzed a celebrity block party. As somebody that has never watched, what is that movie where Katniss Everdeen, I forget her name. Oh my God.
Hunger Games?
Yes, Hunger Games. Gosh. I never watched the movie, but I heard about it, right? People talking about how there's a lot of similarities into real life and how the Met Gala really is, reflective of it. But it says how the Met Gala catalyzed a celebrity block party, says social media is on a fucking spree after witnessing the garish annual display of wealth juxtaposed with images of dead Palestinian children in Rafah. So it says some 9.6 between dress adjustments, pearl placements, and camouflages, and at the controversial Met Gala, 20 protesters were arrested on the Upper East Side during a pro-Palestine demonstration while Israeli forces seized the Rafah crossing that displaced Palestinians relied on for their evacuation to Egypt. In response to celebrities' silence on Gaza, coupled with the garish display of wealth at the fundraising event, many people have started promoting this celebrity block party as a means of from the distractions and extractive nature of consumer culture. The online campaign referred to as the Celebrity Blocklist or Celebrity Blackout 2024 is exactly what it says it is, a social media blocking spree targeting entertainers and influencers who have either shown explicit support for Israel or haven't said a word about Gaza since October 7th. Though fans have been pressuring various celebrities to speak up about Palestinian suffering for over 6 months now, the block party came about after an influencer named Haley Khalil, who was invited to interview gala attendees outside of one of the main hotels, posted a video of herself lip syncing to a popular TikTok sound that included the phrase, "Let them eat cake," the infamous and probably apocryphal words, said to have been uttered by French Queen Marie Antoinette to starving peasants. Now, I want to say this. After Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake, what happened to Marie Antoinette?
Off with her head.
I wouldn't have said that at the Met Gala. That wasn't wise. You know?
Yeah.
She decided to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like there'll be a second use for those flowers on top of her head.
Yeah. I mean, it's really bad, but I will say I have a video I wanted to show because I'm not sure if everyone was aware of this, but yesterday was the 76th anniversary of the Nakba. And so protesters actually took advantage of this as well. There were students protesting. Let me share this here. There were students protesting at CUNY. So I want to bring this up here. There will be no business as usual while you fund a genocide. Check this out. Start from the beginning.
Wow.
Oh, what? People are saying no sound. I
couldn't hear.
I hate sharing this way. This is why I don't like sharing my screen. Let me try this again. Also share audio. Going to try this again. There we go. We'll do it with the tab. And in the future, we'll need to get like a VNC over here because this is so much easier if you have VNC. Let me put this back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because this is trying to share it this way, and then that way you don't have to worry about the sound too. That's another thing. Okay, let me try this again. We'll share it via Chrome. Okay, great. And I'll just bring it over here. All right, again, so these are students protesting at CUNY.
This is how you treat students at CUNY. It is a shame that the leadership of my school refuses to meet the demands of the students, refuses to divest from Israeli genocide. You defend your students and the CCY students when you call the NYPD to brutalize us and put down the president and charge us with felony charges. How dare you say you stood up for equity and social justice? There will be no business as usual while you fund genocide.
So again, those are students protesting at an event at CUNY. So again, yeah, like the students are letting them know, like, we know what you're doing with our money. And this was actually shared by the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They said today on the 76th anniversary of the Nakba, students and organizers disrupt CUNY executive board hearing to demand divestment from Israel.
I mean, good on them. Definitely. And another thing that I think is important is that, you know, what is the sole purpose of the blocking of celebrities, right? And I think one thing that has to be made abundantly clear is that, and somebody said this in a video, but there's going to be celebrities that are going to start speaking out now. And in reality, it's kind of too late for that because they had 7 months to do it. They're now doing it to save their hides. While we do want them to speak out, it's like, no, you guys should have started it already way back in the day.
Right.
And another point I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and not just them, but the influencers too. Be very cautious, guys, of all the influencers that decide to speak out now and they haven't spoken out about this before. That's because, they've probably been a part of that blockout campaign. So just be very cautious of the people that are now just deciding that they're going to speak out about it. That means their wallet is probably being hit in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and always remember that even though we don't pay out of pocket for these social media sites, our currency is our information, our data. So if we are the ones who are blocking celebrities, we're literally preventing them from accessing our data, meaning that they do not get digital currency, as it were, from us. And so that's also a huge hit to them. And there was another point that somebody made in a video, is that be mindful of who you block the most. Because there's a lot of people that are focusing on a lot of Black and brown celebrities, but they don't block a lot of other celebrities that are this color, right? It's like, it's like, okay, yes, you're blocking people like Rihanna, Cardi B. Well, I don't know about blocking Cardi B, because Cardi B, she's a little bit more vocal, but I mean, I haven't heard her say anything about Gaza either. So, take that with a grain of salt. But a lot of, Black people. But what about people like Anna Wintour? What about Vogue magazine, right? What about TMZ? What about Hollywood Reporter? What about these outlets that actually report on with gossip? Are we blocking them too? Are we messing with their bag? Because the thing is like, and it may be people that we may like. Maybe you like Chris Hemsworth, right? But he hasn't spoken out against it. Maybe if he took the same stance as Mark Ruffalo, his co-star, then maybe, just maybe, people would be more sympathetic to him. And I think this works, because then if we're blocking them, then we're no longer consuming their stuff. Even, if you're on Spotify and you start blocking certain people's music, that also affects how much money they make on their music sales. And so it's kind of interesting in that dynamic.
You're right. And I have this video here from Al Jazeera that I want to share as well, where they talk a little bit about the blockout. Mm-hmm. Just let me go ahead and share this here, because I think this is interesting. Like, this is being covered all over, you guys. It's not just, us covering on RBN. Even Al Jazeera is covering the blockout, right? So this is a big deal. Let me make this a little bit larger for you guys.
Al Jazeera podcasts.
Today, the hottest trend on social media, the digital guillotine.
We're just going to block all of these celebrities and in turn block their ad revenue.
Here you go. What started with Gaza has gone global. Can the block movement make an impact?
Let's just speed up a little bit here. And this is where they bring in TikTok.
Dances were different. Protesters targeted the event to call attention to the war in Gaza, where the death toll stands at more than 35,000 people.
The NYPD saying close to 1,000 pro-Palestinian protesters made their presence felt in Manhattan near last night's famed Met Gala.
Yeah, so we're not going to, I don't know why it's doing this. Again, this is why I don't like sharing.
Officers making several.
Because it does this, but I'll just speed up a little bit here when we get to celebrities.
That's what this is all about. Because it's not the first time that Israel bombs Gaza or commits mass murder in Gaza over long periods of time. It's been happening for well over, 15, 20 years. And I think this is just part and parcel of sort of this new moment. And I think there's a lot of reasons for it. I think social media and the internet technology is playing a big role, but also sort of a generational divide. I think Gen Z in particular has shown that they're willing to do more.
So that piece there, yeah, they are willing to do more. They're more willing to, stand up against these issues. And also you have to remember these celebrities, like they don't make money without us. Right?
Yep. Absolutely. And I think that's important because a lot of times we talk about our bosses not being able to make money without us. But are we democratizing our power among celebrities who we consume? I think that's an important point, and it's interesting because one of the things that I also wanted to direct attention to was democratizing our power against the corporations. So a lot of people have been having ideas of how we can also democratize our power against corporations in order to really kind of wrestle that power away from them. Mm-hmm. And so really it's like certain companies, are you blocking them on social media too?
Right. So remember when people were protesting against McDonald's and Starbucks because of, they were actually a part of, the funding efforts in Israel? It's the same thing. Yes, like Starbucks lost a lot of money, you guys, a lot of money because of this. So you really have to hit these businesses in their pocket. And this reminds me of like when we've had the General Strike Summit, right? Remember we talked about this General Strike Summit, like how to really like make these corporations like struggle and suffer. You really have to stop consuming their products, their goods and services. It's that simple. Stop being a consumer of it and they'll start to feel it just like Starbucks did, just like McDonald's did, right?
Absolutely. And that goes into that I shared with you that we can talk about, because ultimately what this means is that we could literally bend them to our will because they need us to consume.
Yes.
These influencers need us to consume their music, their fashion advice, the products that they peddle to us. All these different things they need us to consume. And as we're going to see here, including the corporations, they also try to influence as well.
That's right. Here we go.
We go to her online shopping cart right before purchasing, and then we just leave it there.
Oh my goodness, you're going to drain their marketing dollars too, because I work in marketing, and I know that if you almost check out an item, we do something called retargeting. Retargeting is when you like search up an item on Google or Facebook or Instagram, and all of a sudden, you're getting bombarded with ads nonstop, just ads related to that product. That's called retargeting or remarketing, right? If you do what that creator told you to do and check out almost check out an item, take it to the very end right before you have to put in your credit card details, you're also going to spend their marketing dollars. You're going to waste their marketing dollars, and that's genius.
Absolutely, because it's true. If you get to that point where you're about to check out and you decide not to check out, that part right there is important, because it's true, because then, they have to try to tailor that product or that business to another niche, another audience, because for whatever reason, you got all the way to the shopping cart and you decided not to purchase it. So then they have to start all over again. And they have to look for another audience. So yeah, it's really true. And some people say, well, how can you do that if you're already logged in or whatever? I don't know about other people, but I choose not to log in. You can always check out as a guest, right?
Yes.
So that is a very smart move. Like some of these celebrities that have businesses on the side, like Rihanna has Fenty, right? Kim Kardashian has a separate businesses. A lot of these, J-Lo has, all of them have like their little side business. They don't just make money from their movies or their album sales. And in fact, when it comes to the music industry, if you are choosing to boycott their music and not buy their songs, you're actually going to hurt the record company more than you hurt the artist, because the record company makes more money. They always get their cut first. The record company, the producers, the lawyers. This is how a group like TLC went bankrupt. right? So they talked about this before. So they're always going to get their cut first. And the musicians usually make a lot of their money on the road. This is why they always have to go on tour. So you can choose not to purchase their concert tickets. That's one way you can do that if you're targeting the artist. But yeah, a lot of these celebrities have other, side hustles. So there's some other business that they have. And a lot of times you may not even know that they own that particular product that you like. Sometimes you got to search a little bit for it if they're not using their name. But yeah, it's true. That's one of the easiest things. And it doesn't cost you any money to do that. It doesn't cost you any money to load up items into an online shopping cart and then abandon ship. That's what I call it, abandoned ship.
Abandoned ship. I love that. And I think also one of the things I also want to bring attention to is the people who are speaking out, the people who have been genuinely saying something. And there's some people who still take issue with Macklemore because they feel like he's getting way more attention than he should, because there are artists that have been speaking out about Palestine in the past. You have Lupe Fiasco, that actually talked about Palestine back in 2011. You have Yasin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def. You have many different artists that have actually spoken out about it. And it's like, are you giving more attention to them, the artists who actually put stuff out there, or the people who have been speaking out? Are you giving them more attention because they're, have the will to speak out? For instance, like you said earlier, Sabs, Susan Sarandon lost her talent agency, right? Are we giving her more attention now? Or, for instance, are we giving, and this is by no means, I'm not being paid to promote anything, but for instance, Right Brain Studios, they've literally been speaking out against this issue for a while now. Are you giving them more of your attention than, say, a Netflix or a Hulu?
And they make a lot of, documentaries and, things like that. That's a really good point. And I think the reason why Macklemore received a lot of attention is because he dropped the song on Twitter, or X, excuse me. He released it on Twitter, which has way more followers than Facebook. I'm not sure about Instagram, but I think Twitter is probably one of the largest platforms in reference to followers, right? Macklemore has millions of followers. So he dropped it on Twitter, which was actually really smart. That's how it actually gained so much traction, because people are like, whoa, he just dropped a thing about Palestine. So he dropped that from his account. Also, he doesn't tweet much. If you actually look on his page, I know I keep saying tweet, I'm sorry, it'll always be Twitter to me. If you look on his page, you'll see Macklemore actually does not tweet that much. So there's been like months that have gone by where he doesn't tweet at all. So I think that's why it receives so much attention versus Lupe Fiasco plus Lupe Fiasco was years ago, but versus Mos Def, etc. I think dropping it on Twitter gained a lot of attention.
That's true.
But I hear you. Plus, he spoke at the Palestine rally in DC. I don't know if everyone remembers that. But the first one that had over 500,000 people there, he was one of the guest speakers, along with Susan Sarandon.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is another argument. I want to give some attention to this. Rondo says the issue with Macklemore is that he's very much fulfills the white savior myth archetype. So, are you centering the voices of the Palestinians? And I think that's also really important, because look, and I asked this to Macklemore on Twitter. I have yet to receive a response, but remember how Kendrick Lamar, for his diss tracks, he made sure that nobody will get a copyright strike if they play it, if they react to it on YouTube.
Right.
Well, what about Macklemore? Is he going to make sure that there's no copyright strikes at all for anybody that plays his stuff on YouTube?
That's a good question. That's why I haven't even played his song or any part of it, because I don't know if he did that or not. But I do know the proceeds for his song are not going to him. They're going to UNRWA. So that's another
good.
thing too. He did actually pay homage to a Lebanese singer in that song. Again, I can't play. I don't know if I can play the song on here. But if you listen to that song, there's like a couple of riffs in that song that is actually from a Lebanese singer. I forgot her name. I had her name up here before. Let me see.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Is that people have, some issues with that, but
Farouz.
Sorry, go ahead.
Her name is Farouz. It says the music he sampled from Ana La Habibi, I Belong to My Lover by Lebanese icon Farouz.
Okay.
Yeah, it's towards the beginning of the song.
Okay. Well, that's a positive thing. I'm appreciative that he is at least making the attempt. At the same time, it's like we have to be very careful also to make sure we center the voices of the oppressed who we're trying to amplify voices of. So that's another thing too. But yeah, when it comes to people who are actually speaking out, also, either follow or, their content, as long as they're doing good things, and try to elevate people who are using their art to speak up for the marginalized, and as well as people who are doing what they can to affect change, on a deep level. I'm waiting for some people who have been vocal about other things to say something, but I'm not going to hold my breath because they're trying to maintain and keep a lifestyle. So.
Yeah, that's true. Ani said it's being played a lot, cleaned, and shared by other YouTubers. Yeah, I still don't know if those YouTubers got copyright or not.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like unless we're in their YouTube studio, like we can go into their YouTube studio and see if they got, a copyright claim or copyright. So we really don't know. That's the thing about that. Because sometimes people share things, but just because they shared it doesn't mean they didn't get penalized for it.
Yeah. And people like Amanda Seals called out Tiffany Haddish for her remarks and what she said in that video a little bit later. And she basically said that she is not focused on the celebrity anymore. She just wants to be an artist that speaks her mind for liberation of other people. And I think Amanda Seals is really embodying what we would like to see in celebrities, where it's really just, I'm an artist and I'm going to use my platform to speak out about these things. And I think that is what I think is important. Because if you look at some of these celebrities, they'll use their platform like the Oscars or the Grammys to speak out, about a specific thing, but they always keep it within a certain framework, right? They can't veer too far off of it because they really do not want to risk the advertising dollars and influencing positions that they have within Hollywood. So they, like a George Clooney, like he'll speak out for environmental stuff, but you won't dare hear George Clooney speak out about what's going on in Gaza. And if he does, that's it for George Clooney.
That's true. And thank you so much for this, Snake Man Mark. Yes, British rapper Loki. Yes, Loki has been speaking out about this issue for, I don't know how long. It's been a long time. He's definitely another one that's on the right side of history. But it's true. I think like it is acceptable in the entertainment industry to speak out against police brutality. But even at one point, that wasn't always the case. So let's all remember, when NWA was speaking out against the police, when Ice-T spoke out against the police, at that point in time, that was not considered, it was more taboo back then. But now it's okay for entertainers to speak out about that. So if you notice some of these entertainers where people will say they're taking a stand, a lot of times they're taking a stand on an issue that is already socially acceptable for them to do so. Someone else already fought through the struggle, standing up for those issues when it was not acceptable to do so. So when Beyonce comes to the Super Bowl and, you know, she's performing and she's speaking out against police brutality, and particularly in music videos as well, we have to remember the people who paved the way so that she is able to do that. And that was people like, you know, Ice Cube and his comrades at NWA. That was people like Ice-T. That was people like Grandmaster Flash. Like, so you got to remember, it's easier to stand up for those issues when somebody else has already paved the way for you to do so.
Yeah. What I want to ask you this question though as well, Sabs. Should this trend stop at advocating for ending the genocide in Palestine, or do you think we can and should take it further?
I think we should keep it going. You know, there should be a movement in reference to the Congo. I think a lot of people are just not aware of the genocide happening in the Congo, and the US government is complicit in reference to that as well. We're talking over 6 million people. 6 million people have been killed in the Congo. There is a genocide starting in Sudan. You know, it's happening in different countries around the world. And I just think that as long as we continue to bring more attention to it, I think the reason why the issue in Gaza is getting more attention than those particular countries is because it's actual warfare, right? Like there's bombs being dropped and things like that. Whereas it's warfare that's televised by mainstream media, right? A lot of people, particularly mainstream media, isn't talking about the cobalt mines in the Congo and the children working in those mines. They're not talking about those things. So a lot of people just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you know, as far as I'm not going to play the video, I'm not going to play the sound because it's actually music. But this talks about over 40,000 children working cobalt mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so it shows an example of a child working in a cobalt mine, and it says earning less than $2 a day. And so you have little children. This child looks like they could be no more than 7 years old that is, you know, doing this hard work in a cobalt mine. It says Democratic Republic of Congo has the largest cobalt deposits in the world.
Yep.
Is this still coming in choppy? I hope
not. I mean, it's fine as long as we're not playing the volume. I can still see the video and the words. But I think, you know, this is important too, because people may not realize this, but when it comes to our cell phones, right? Like any device that we use that has a rechargeable battery, I mean, the cobalt is used for that. So it's really sad. But the reality is, this is why I continue to say there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. There is nothing, I can't think of anything that you can buy that doesn't have some type of conflict attached to it. And I wish more people, you know, understood that this is how it operates in a capitalist system.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important that we not only talk about what's going on in Palestine, but do not keep silent on Congo, Sudan, Haiti, Tigray, all these different countries that are going through genocides as we speak. Because, and ultimately, I think keeping this up, also divorcing themselves from the worship of celebrity culture, I think is also really important too. I think we just need to divorce ourselves from that, because that's part of the capitalist system too.